she was 17 years old. And because she was pregnant and felt guilty, she decided to marry my biological father. 2 years into the marriage, he began to cheat on my mom and fell heavily into crack and heroin addiction. And because he ended up leaving, I have no idea what my father looks like. The last memory I have of him is when I was 3, and I was sitting on the porch with my little backpack and just waiting for him to pick me up because he promised that this time he would. I remember arguing with my mom that he would come, and that I was going to wait there until he did. It got darker and darker, and eventually I fell asleep, and my mom picked me up and put me in my bed. I still to this day can remember the sadness and hurt I felt as a 3-year-old. My mom began attending church and singing in the choir, and it was there that she met my stepdad. My mom told me the first time I met Dan, and I asked if he was going to be my dad. And a few months later, he and my mom married and forever changed my life. Not only did he marry my mom, but he adopted my sister and I. Things seemed to be going well until one day in 4th grade, I remember coming downstairs and my whole family was huddled around my mom in a chair because she literally could not move her body. The doctors diagnosed her with a disease called multiple sclerosis, or MS. It's a disease where your immune system begins to attack the different nerve endings in your brain until eventually they don't work and completely shut down. I was devastated. My mom was my rock and she had been through so much already. Why was God doing this to her? And I think that's when I became angry with God. I stopped caring in school. I began to drink and smoke weed on a regular basis in the 7th grade. After about a year, I ended up having to leave the school. Following my 8th grade year, my parents made me go to Spring Hill camps against all my wishes. The trip changed my life. It was the first time I could feel God's love and presence. I could no longer live in anger and deny His existence. When I went home, I started back into high school and attended Southfield Christian. In my junior year, I started a relationship with a girl that I thought I was going to marry. 3 years later, when everything seemed great, she called me up one day and ended it. I'm pretty sure I went crazy after that. I had put everything I had into that relationship and it was over. For 3 weeks, I didn't even get out of bed. There was no way I was going to be able to go on after that. I remember coming home from college and going to a movie with my friends, and my eye was just all blurry and I couldn't see anything out of it. I ended up going to the doctors to find out what was wrong, and as they came into the waiting room, they told me I was diagnosed with MS. I honestly couldn't move. I went home and just screamed at God. The next summer, I was given an opportunity to work for Spring Hill, and it was exactly what I needed. Instead of being angry with God, I learned that I could use my biological father leaving me to help people who had gone through the same thing. I could use the fact that I had a debilitating disease to speak to others about God. During one of the weeks of camp, God spoke to me and told me to read James. In the very beginning it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." And since that day, I have clung to this verse.